Hey guys, what is up and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I am Jamila and I love all things makeup, I love all things beauty, and I love all things skincare. And for today's video, I'm kicking off my makeup collection series. And I wanted to start off with all of my foundations and all of my concealers. Now, I don't keep a ton of foundations and concealers because I know cream products expire faster than powder products, but I still have too much for one person. So if you want to see all of the foundations and all of the concealers in my collection, just keep on watching. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So like I said in the intro, for today's video, I wanted to kick off my makeup collection series with my foundations and my concealers. So we're going to dive into the foundations first. So the first foundation that I have in my collection is the Rare Beauty, is it just called a Rare Beauty foundation? I guess so. It's the Rare Beauty foundation in the shade 430W. This is the newest foundation to my collection, and it does have like a really runny consistency, but I really enjoy this. I think this works well on my combination skin. And it does a really good job of sinking into the skin, even though it is more of a serum type based foundation. It doesn't leave me oily and it doesn't feel heavy on the skin at all. It just kind of sinks in and looks absolutely gorgeous. So this is the newest one to my collection and I absolutely love it. Next, I want to talk about my Fenty foundations. So I have both the original Fenty foundation and the Hydrating formula. I'm not a huge fan of the Hydrating formula. I'm actually very close to finishing this. I'm really hopeful that I can be done within next month or so, because I do think that this leaves me very oily. I don't think that this is a good option if you have oily or combination type skin, but I do think that if you have dry skin, you might enjoy this a lot more. And both of these are in the shade 410. I do like the soft matte formula a lot better, but I will say that now that it's been a couple of years of using this, I do find it to be somewhat heavy on the skin, so I haven't been reaching for this in quite some time. Next, I have the Stay Naked Weightless Liquid Foundation, and this is in the shade 70 Warm Yellow. This I really enjoy. I just haven't been using it much because it is a very matte formula, and in the winter time my skin gets to be really dry, so I love this, but it's just not my go-to right now during the winter. And I will say that it is a little bit dark for me now because I've gotten slightly lighter during the winter. The next foundation I have in my collection, and I've had this for a while, is the tried and true MAC Studio Fix with SPF 15, and this is in the shade NC50. I think this is a great full coverage foundation. I just have not been reaching for this because I'm not into full coverage looks, and it's also a little bit too dark for me now during winter. And the final foundation in my wait, no, I lied. This is the second to last foundation in my collection. This is the Too Faced Born This Way, the original one, and it is in the shade Chai. Again, this is a little bit too dark for me right now, but it is my perfect shade in the winter time. I'm sorry, it is my perfect shade in the summertime. But I definitely will begin using this again once summertime comes and I'm back to my original shade. And the last foundation in my collection is the Colourpop No Filter Stix, and this is in the shade Dark 175 Warm. I actually really love this foundation stick. It's beginning to become a little bit too dark for me, and I'm literally almost done with it. But I do like the formula of this. I think it blends really well into the skin, and it does get a little bit oily after a while. I don't love the wear time of this, but I do think it provides really good coverage. So these are all of the foundations in my collection. Next, we have my concealers, and I have a lot of them, probably too much. So I will probably be doing a little bit of a declutter here. So let's start with this first one. So the first thing that I want to show you guys is my two e.l.f. Camo concealers, and this is the Hydrating formula. I picked this up at Target a while back. I do really enjoy these. This one is too dark and too red for me, so I will declutter this one and probably give it to my sister. But I will keep this one, and this is in the shade Deep Olive, and the other one was in the shade Deep Chestnut. So decluttering Deep Chestnut, keeping Deep Olive. The next concealer that I have is the Stila Pixel Perfect Concealer. And I did pick this up at TJ Maxx just to try it out. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't read any reviews, but I'm actually very surprised by how much I like this. It's not too mattifying and it's not too dry, and it blends very, very nicely into the skin. And this is in the shade Medium Tan, which I think is just perfect for my complexion. And it's medium tan too. Next, we have another TJ Maxx find, and this is the Becca Aqua Luminous Perfecting Concealer. I actually haven't tried this yet, so I don't know how this performs. So I'm going to keep it to my collection for now because I need to dig into this and actually see if I like it. Another concealer in my collection is the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, and this is in the shade Medium Dark 26 Walnut. And I actually don't think that I like the NARS formula. I know a lot of people love this concealer and it's their holy grail, but I think this is a little bit too matte and too full coverage for my preference. I'm going to hold on to it for now, but I don't know if I will keep this in my collection for very long. Next I have another e.l.f. and this is Camo Concealer, and this is the matte finish. This is in the shade Deep Chestnut, and I do really like the e.l.f. concealer formula, even the matte one, but I do think that right now it is too matte for my preferences, especially during the winter time. But I will keep it because I think I'll get a lot of use out of it once summertime hits. And the last concealer in my collection is this MAC Studio Finish Concealer in the shade NC45. I've had this for way too long, so I will be decluttering this because it is super duper old. And all of these are eyeshadow primers, so we'll ignore the rest of these in this bucket. Moving to my next group of concealers, the first thing that I want to pull out is my Too Faced Multi-Sculpting Concealers. And I have these in multiple shades. So the first shade I have here is Caramel. This is actually the newest shade that I just purchased. I love the formula of this Too Faced concealer, but this shade Caramel is a little too neutral for me. So I am not sure if I'm going to keep this because I don't like this color for my undertone. And then the next two shades that I have are in Chestnut and Butterscotch. Now, Chestnut is pretty much my skin tone shade, so this is really good for like spot concealing and spot correcting. And Butterscotch is a highlight shade for me, but I think it's a little bit too light. So what I actually like to do is to mix both of these to get the perfect shade for me for highlighting. And again, we have another e.l.f. Camo Concealer, and this is in the shade Deep Olive. I've had this for a while, and I do like this specifically for carving out my eyebrows. So definitely keeping this in the collection. I think this is a really good concealer for like eyebrows or even priming the lids because it's pretty matte and it doesn't leave you oily at all. Next, I have another MAC concealer, and this is the, what is this? It's the Mineralized Concealer, also in NC45. This, again, is another super old concealer in my collection, so I will be decluttering this because this is actually pretty old. And finally, another TJ Maxx find. This is the Milk Makeup Concealer. It's their Flex Concealer. And I have this in Golden Honey, Medium Beige, and Golden Nude. Now, Golden Honey is the perfect shade for me, so this one I absolutely love and will totally keep. Golden Nude is way too light for me, so I am considering decluttering this. And Medium Beige is way too neutral for me. So I might just get rid of both of these, or I'll think about mixing them in with some of my deeper concealers, because they're both pretty brand new. I wasn't sure which one was my shade, so I bought all of them because it was at TJ Maxx and it was pretty cheap. Not a good reason to spend money, but say what, you know? It happens sometimes. So I think I'll hold on to these for a while and try mixing them in with some of my other concealers so I can get some use out of it. Okay, so these are all of the concealers in my collection. I have 12 concealers. Whoops. And I will be decluttering these 3. Okay, and that's it from me, guys. If you enjoyed this, make sure you like, subscribe, and I will be back with the next episode in my makeup collection series. Bye, guys.